Hello everyone, this is Yael from Yael Alchemy, and I'm here with the Twin Flame weekly reading for the week of March 6 to 12. And I missed you all last week. I was all set to do the readings after my vacation, and but for some reason, Spirit wouldn't let me do it. That was the week of the solar eclipse, and I was just told that everybody should just incorporate the energies because it's very volatile still. So if you do follow my Facebook page, then I put up a notice there. Otherwise, you might have been wondering where my videos were for last week. Anyway, pre-eclipse, I was there in this very, very beautiful place called Coron in Palawan in the Philippines, and it is wonderful. And about right now, I'm probably showing you pictures, and I was able to experience nature, the sun, the sand, the wind, and the sea. Lovely, lovely place. And I think that it was also sort of engineered by the universe for me to be there because one of my primary missions is to heal the masculine ancestral line. Okay, and one of my eldest cousin who hasn't been here in 21 years. The thing is, he's supposed to help me do that. He comes here every time there is new cycle, and so yes, this is a beginning again, and I feel that he was able to do that and help heal that, which was, that's my individual mission. And my twin has also chosen a very difficult ancestral line to heal. And so I don't know why we picked expert mode. But anyway, there, I hope you've seen the beautiful pictures. And those limestone cliffs, they were spectacular. I could actually see their sort of like a crystalline outline while I was looking at them. And so definitely I was supposed to be there at that point in time. And it just came up out of the blue. Everything was paid for, beautiful hotel, airfare, and I just found myself there. So I thought it was divinely orchestrated. Anyway, let's get to the readings. First, here we have the masculine side, and here for the divine masculine, and here for the divine feminine. Okay, and at the bottom of the deck, I am using now the alchemical tarot deck, which I've already programmed to help in my mission and cleansed, of course. Here we have at the bottom of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have two serpents eating its tail. This indicates change. The winged serpent indicates the volatile energies, while the scaly serpent indicates the fixed. So this needs to happen, that the fixed will swallow the volatile situation, and vice versa. This needs to happen to continue on towards ascension. There has to be change. There needs to be constant movement. So that's general energies. And here we have the Five of Cups. And here in this card of the Five of Cups, we see two vessels. Actually, it's called vessels in this deck. while 3 are spilled. And from one broken vessel, we see here 2 birds emerging. And the 2 birds is the hope that comes out of the regret, the disappointment that comes from the cracked vessels. So this represents hope and optimism from a situation that didn't have much of it before. And here we have the Justice card. This is, in alchemy, you have to measure, it's like chemistry in a way, that the amounts, in order to get the desired outcome, the amounts of what you have to mix have to be measured precisely. So that's what's going on right now. And next is temperance. And this is really, sometimes this card is called the alchemist card, because this involves the process of distillation, which is very important in alchemy. And you see here, that's why there is steam there from the cups that is heading upward. And so this transmutation of matter, solid matter, into something lighter to get up to that cup waiting above, and also the polarity, you see the white steam and the black steam, they're all mixing up. Again, necessary on a journey which continues, as indicated by the 5 of Swords. Here we have 2 swords pointing upwards, indicating positive thoughts, positive directions, and 2 swords pointing downwards. And you see here the swords are broken. And we have here a blacksmith. And what he's doing, well, what they do is that they heat the metal until it's malleable. He's repairing the broken swords, these negative swords. So the work is ongoing. Any remaining negative thoughts being repaired for this tower moment to happen. And this is a good tower moment, especially in this card. Unlike the other decks, the tower usually signifies somebody falling from a tower. But here, the tower is represented by this alchemical oven. And because this is where the elixir is being made. And the sudden burst of lightning gives fire necessary to transform the elixir. And that's why these 2 people, they're actually happy. They're, it's a feeling of exaltation at having produced these things all of a sudden. So basically, for this week at least, continuing on, finding the positive in whatever that's spilled. Again, balance and temperance, and then repairing what was broken, all leading up to this tower moment, sudden exaltation, because you finally are getting that elixir that you were trying to cook in the first place. Okay, so that's general energies of this reading. Now let's move on to the Divine Masculine. If you've been hearing my phone, sorry, I forgot to put it on silent. Anyway, the first card for the Divine Masculine, we have the 9 of Staffs. And here we have a wolf. This wolf is actually being sacrificed in the fire. And from the burnt, well, as far as mythology goes, from the burnt body of the wolf emerges the king of fire there. Okay, So this indicates that right now the divine masculine, because this indicates a sacrifice, this is a letting go. I know the Nine of Wands and other decks, they mean other things, but in this particular deck, this is a sacrifice because this is a precursor to the Phoenix card, wherein he is reborn from the ashes. But this time, at least this week, there is a surrender, a sacrifice that is happening, going on for the divine masculines, for a higher purpose. Okay? Next card we have for them is the Two of Coins. And here, the Two of Coins is represented by the Sun and the Moon. And here we have a lemniscate, which is the infinity symbol. Part of it, we have the lion eating the ego here. And again, the lion represents fixed energy, while the ego represents volatile, changing energies. So, because of this sacrifice, that the divine masculines are going to go through, this would be one of the results, wherein something that was very volatile before is now going to be fixed. There's going to be a change there. Again, echoing the general energies this week. But we'll pick clarifying cards to see what that pertains to later on. Next card we have is the Eight of Swords. And here we see 8 swords grounded on the earth, in the earth, and almost forming a cage. And here we have this mythical creature, part bull, part eagle, part lion, almost all of the 4 elements, and it's chained he's chained and bound by a stake here. And he's red because he's very frustrated. He's repressed. He wants to get out of it. So that's the feeling of the divine masculines right now. Whatever situation that they're going through, the pressure is building. They want to get out of it. They want to stabilize something that was previously very, very slippery. Something that is hard to catch. Or perhaps someone that was hard to catch. And this not being able to do that, or not being able to move just as yet, is giving them a lot of frustration. And that's why here, this mythical creature here is all red, signifying almost anger, that frustration, that anger. And the next card we have for the divine masculines would be the High Priestess. You see, all these other previous cards, they're minors, right? And at the end, we have the High Priestess. And she's clothed in violet, and there's a full moon there. Her boat is that of the crescent moon. And this is Venus and Aquarius. So, this is a very intuitive card that throughout whatever they're experiencing, and we knew that it was since the eclipse that our masculines will be going through a tough time. And this is reflected even when I did a reading for my beloved. Yes, things are happening. If they haven't received that wake-up call yet, to get the ball rolling, this wheel of fortune, it's got to move. The divine is orchestrating things, making sure that the twins are in the right place, are in the right frame of mind, in order to be able to do their missions in ushering this new cycle, the new earth. Okay? So, here are divine masculines, through all the hardships that they've been experiencing, which some of you may call as the dark night of the soul. This is a way of him connecting to the divine, seeing behind the veil. This is like an initiation to the mysteries, which is why the high priestess there has her finger to her mouth, because it's a secret. It's not divulged to everyone. And right now, the divine masculines, at least this reading for this part of the collective that has not yet woken up or still needs a wake-up call to get on it, because right now they're still trapped, right? And here's the thing. Venus went retrograde, and I know all of you, most of you are aware of that. But if you aren't, Venus goes retrograde today, at least in my case, in this part of the world. And it's going direct on April 15, and that's roughly 42 days, right? And so it's like 40 days and 40 nights wherein you'll be able to, because whenever Venus goes retrograde, it brings up letting go of relationships, attachments that haven't worked out, indicating like this sacrifice, the necessary change, the pressure that's building up. Because here, this is a period of how do you say it? It's like self-individuation, defining yourself further, and looking back at relationships, what didn't work out. And whenever it's retrograde also, it's also getting a sense of what happened in the past, going back to people from the past that you've either cut ties with, cut contact with. So that's a good thing for twins in separation, because, this is a period when some of these divine masculines, because whatever they have right now is changing. They're not happy anymore. And they're being given the wisdom to understand why it was so. So we have a period of 40 days of trying to figure out who they are in the context of their relationships, because that's Venus. Okay? And what they feel about those they've had relationships with. Anyway, let's just quickly, let's look for clarifying cards for the divine masculine. Okay. Nine of Wands. Okay, see? This sacrifice, this self-sacrifice has to do with love. So this letting go has to do with a prior love relationship or an existing one that they have to let go of. Here, this change will bring gifts, presents to the situation. So this is a welcome change because there will be some stability in store. At least for them, if they've been flip-flopping and then they finally make a decision, which the universe has been telling them to make, all these past months, they finally make a decision and it's going to bring gifts. Like there are special gifts that one gets to have in relationships. So, and this is not just like material gifts, okay? And see here. The Eight of Swords clarified by infortune. So this is sort of being handicapped. They're in crutches. So this situation, this feeling trapped, they feel emasculated because of it. That's why they're being urged to change. And the High Priestess, okay. This is inheritance. What you get after the death. And in this case, it's the death of the ego, that persona that wasn't connected yet to the divine. Because now the appearance of the High Priestess indicates that the divine masculines have access to it. So that's the inheritance. What they get after the death of their old selves, their ego selves, okay? Their ego-driven selves, rather. And the advice for the divine masculines, here we have the Four of Coins. Here we have a man holding up this archway. He's a bit, he's got blood on his hands, on his shoulders, which indicates that although it looks effortless for him, being able to build this strong foundation indicated a lot of pain and effort on his part. But the divine masculines are being reminded that despite that, the foundation is stable and he's going to heal. You can see the whatever wounds he incurs in building this. And you see here we have, I don't know, is that a bee? It looks like a fly. Okay. In any case, I'm not going to read that. I can't tell if it's a bee or a fly because it looks like a fly. And it's summer here, so fly is on my mind. So, there, the masculines are being reminded that their effort will be rewarded. They're building something solid here, and the wounds that they have incurred while building this foundation will heal. So just keep going, even if, because this indicates illness, restriction. Okay, so let's go to the Divine Feminines. First card we have for the Divine Feminines is the Ace of Wands. And here in this Ace of Wands, we have a salamander, and salamanders, the Roman naturalist Pliny thought that salamanders could only breed, because they call them fire lizards, they could only breed with fire. I mean, they needed fire to be able to breed, to procreate. That's why the salamander is pictured there. And here, because in alchemy, wood is said to contain fire, because when all the water evaporates from the wood, then you can light it and create a fire. So the divine feminines are, again, here this week. New beginning. New beginning, new phase. Perhaps it's a beginning wherein you're fully empowered. March is Women's Month. I'm not sure if that applies to all countries, but here in mine, March is Women's Month. And this month is really in celebration of the divine goddess New. And this beginning, I strongly feel, pertains to owning that aspect of you as a divine goddess, and using that to create whatever desires that you have. Of course, it's a given your desires to be in union with your twin, but then again, because there are so many factors that have to come into play before coming into union, and that goes to the individual missions that you signed up for before incarnating, things that you each have to do to accomplish before you can get together. In the meantime, while that is ongoing, so because now we have congruent, simultaneous timelines, then this is what the divine feminines are doing, is that they're activating those other parts wherein they're discovering their own passions for something else, something that will occupy their time and make it constructive. So it's like constructive waiting. It's like, you're going to get your turn. You're on cue. In the meantime, since there's still others that are, waiting to be served, then you make use of that time instead of sitting idly. Okay? Next card we have for the divine feminines is the Four of Wands. And this card, this is the 1111 card, especially in this deck. And in this deck, this symbolizes a wedding in a sacred space. And here, this is also a wedding of opposites. We have the male, the female. The male is naked here. The female is not. So it's a card of the merging of opposites and just having things brought together for this union to take place. Okay. Next card we have for the divine feminine is the Hanged Man. So, but depending on what clarifying cards we'll get, because this is an enforced meditation, it's almost a voluntary sacrifice. See, this man, he's hanging by his foot, and it's a serpent that holds his foot. It's a crucified serpent, which actually symbolizes Mercury. Mercury, fastest planet, and even representative of Hermes, not the bag, but the messenger, right? So either communication is suspended, movement is suspended, because here there are certain things that have to be let go of still. But we'll find more about that once we get clarifiers. And next, okay, again, a card of suspension. This is the Four of Swords. And so here we have a major. This is a major card. And the theme is repeated again in one of the pips, which is the Four of Swords. And here we have a woman. She's meditating. Her negative thoughts, okay, these are negative thoughts, the tip of the swords. They're safely grounded into the earth. And here she's wearing a violet cloak, which signifies transformation, transmuting all these negative thoughts that she has grounded into the earth so that they don't affect her. And even here, she's surrounded by thistles. Can you see the thistles there? They're the thorny plants. But she's not affected by the thistles either. So, what this is saying is that in the delay of this union, because some things had to be let go, the divine feminine has learned, number one, how to shield herself from negative thoughts so that her meditation, her ascension, will not be hampered, will not be affected, the same way that she's detached, unaffected by her surroundings, which are thorny. Even the the ground here is rocky and she's sitting directly on the ground. So this is a good sign. This is actually an improvement because for the past months, our readings for the Divine Feminine have always been being filled with negative thoughts, negativity, and all that. But now, it seems that the enforced delay has served its purpose because now the Divine Feminines are learning about the art of detachment. Because this is the detachment that's necessary to create a work of beauty. Okay? Let's pick some clarifiers for that. Okay, for the Ace of Wands, let's see, we have here découverte. Is this French? I think this is French. Yeah, so this is the discovery of new passions here. So this Ace of Wands, discovering something that occupies, that you would like to start. Because here we have the owl and the moon indicating wisdom. And we have the six-figured star, which is here, which is, again, the divine masculine represented by the upright triangle and the divine feminine represented by the downward triangle superimposed on each other. And here, this X here, that signifies the four elements. So discovering something that you'd like to start, you're starting with a new passion, but it is something that is connected to the esoteric arts, something like that, your newfound self, the enlightened self. Okay, for the Four of Wands, okay, this is ruin. And this is just saying that this was delayed by this. Okay? But because some of you will panic because there's ruin there, I'm going to pick another card. Okay. Here. So this, because this card is treachery. Ruined by treachery. So this is saying that for those who have decided to get off the wagon, not continue the journey, because this is treachery. This is something else that you've picked behind the back, which led to the ruin of this otherwise idyllic relationship. So there. So that's what clarifies that for the Divine Feminine. And for the Hanged Man. Oh, here, abundance. See, that's again explaining the delay, that you cannot reap the harvest yet of this union because there are some things that you have to let go of. Okay? And then the Four of Swords. Okay. This is intelligence, this is wisdom, and this is learning, higher learning. Because once you're able to access that higher wisdom, higher learning, then you will know how to appropriately detach yourself from the situation and not let all these negative thoughts affect you. Because here, this ruin pertains to those who have let those negative thoughts, negative situations, even if that's what you're seeing in 3D, you all know what the big plan is. And it's all part of the process. But the thing is, you're impatient. You want things now, 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 now. So you pick another path. Treachery, ruin, again, cause and effect. So what is the advice right now for the Divine Feminines? Here we have the Nine of Coins. And the Nine of Coins advises the Divine Feminine. See, whatever new passion that you're beginning, okay, newly discovered, maybe it's your mission, okay, just go ahead, do it, and you will reap all the benefits. Here we have a butterfly in the palm of the woman's hand, and there's actually a snake there. I don't know if you can see it. And she has her third eye open. She's wearing a crown that is very abundant with leaves. So this is to the Divine Feminines. Come into your fullness as a Divine Feminine. Empower yourselves so that you reap that. Because you already know how to detach, at least some of you know how to detach yourself from the situation. And because you're becoming fixed and not volatile, then you're going to make this Wheel of Fortune turn. You're changing it, and that's the nature of alchemy. You change a situation. You manipulate the situation with energy so that it changes. For those who aren't able to do that, then here, that's the Ruin card and the Treachery card. But for those who continue, then that's still on offer. You just have to know how to go with the flow, because this continues all the time. Okay, and let's get a card that'll tie the both of them together. Right here. Okay. Three of Swords. So, Three of Swords, heartbrokenness. You see the vessel here, it's crying, crying to the rose. There are three swords there indicating the heartache of separation. But if you see here the separation, in the case of the Divine Feminines, it is enforced. Okay? So that's the energy, basically. In the case of the Divine Masculines, it's because he's got to come into his own power to get out of the situation. He's being given the wisdom and the tools, the guidance to do that. But because some of them haven't done that yet, that's why we have this energy here. And what is Spirit saying regarding this energy? To the divine masculines, continue on. You're building something that will be more stable than whatever thing you've left. To the divine feminines, or reeling in separation, here, discover your own fullness. There's certain happiness, a certain fulfillment that comes with that when you finally find yourself empowered and, getting back your stride, not letting this affect you. Okay? Anyway, that's what I have for you. And because it's very important right now, I picked a winner for the contest. Kathy Golden, you haven't gotten in touch with me. So I hope you do so, because otherwise I'm going to pick another winner. Okay? I tagged you on the Facebook page, and congratulations, you did win an insight reading. But I need to know what your question is so I can get to it. And for this month, the RASHEEBA healing sessions are still ongoing. Very important, because ushering in a new beginning, you need the energy of fire. Fire, the fire of the salamander, the fire of creation. Okay? So that's what I have for you this week, and I hope you watch this clip. It's a short one, so this will help you get into the creative mode, because we need fire for that, and the dragons will help. Okay? Bye.